You think you're prepared to see death, but violent death, a man taking a man's life, it's a very different thing. It changes you in ways you know immediately and ways you discover later in darkness when you're as alone as you've ever been. And when death happens on a massive scale, you fight the terrible thought that soon comes. Are we worth saving? And if we are, am I willing to become the thing that I hate to save us? Am I willing to be a killer? Back in the present, Cap's sitting at the bar when he hears a police radio going off from the cop nearby. There's been a shootout and the suspect's on the move. Cap heads to the scene and asks where the shooter is. A female cop tells him they went down Madison and are heading to the UN building. He asks for directions, suits up, and jumps on his bike. He quickly catches up with the guy. The guy starts shooting and Cap raises his shield. That's when Cap realizes this guy's trained. He can't get a clear shot through the traffic, so he jumps over the vehicles and throws his shield, knocking the guy off his bike. The guy hits the ground hard, and Cap sees a bomb strapped to his waist. Cap jumps off his bike and goes after the guy on foot. He dropped his shield during the jump, but a nearby civilian hands it back to him. The shooter reaches the UN building, where security stops him and draws their guns. He pulls out a detonator and threatens to blow himself up. That's when Cap arrives. He starts talking to the guy and quickly realizes he's military. He then introduces himself as Captain Commandos Infantry, World War II. The guy is in disbelief. Cap tries to further calm the situation and keeps talking to him. He tells him that death isn't the answer, it only brings more death. Cap says he can help and asks him, as a superior officer, to stand down, and the man does. He even throws him a salute. He tries to explain himself, but Cap already understands. That's when Iron Man shows up and deactivates the bomb. Later, they talk about the United Nations, about why it was created. Cap's glad to hear that the world at least tried. Stark suggests he should join the Avengers, but Cap just says no. He already belongs to an organization. It may have been decades since he went down into the ice, but for him, it was yesterday. He was a soldier in the US Army, and now it's time to return to base. Here we pick back up on David Colton. He's trying to join the army, but they keep rejecting him, saying he has severe asthma and poor eyesight. Still, he doesn't give up. He keeps pushing until they finally let him join. Here we pick back up on Cap. He is in Pentagon. They run all sorts of tests on him and come to a startling conclusion. He's a perfect human specimen. They also find markings linked to Dr. Erskine's super soldier experiments from the 1940s, and they're confused how that's even possible. Cap explains that during a mission in 1945, he fell into the Atlantic Ocean, froze, and somehow survived. Just last week, the Avengers found his body and thawed him out. To the general, Cap looks just like a young man. The general introduces himself and tells Cap that there will be more questions. Cap doesn't mind, so they begin with the first one. Why is he here? Why walk straight into the Pentagon, a place that didn't even exist when he was last roaming the planet? The world has changed. The war is long over. He could have gone anywhere. Cap replies, "It's been one hell of a week, sir. I've seen some incredible things, but I lost everything. My partner, Bucky, he fell into the ocean. My parents were gone before I even enlisted, and the friends I once had, they're all gone. The only thing that still matters to me, the one thing that still exists, it's here, with the men and women who serve." The general nods, says he understands more than Cap might think. Then he welcomes him back into the United States Armed Forces and hands him his first mission, now that he joined the army. He calls his mother. Like any mother, she just wants her son to come back home, but he can't. The Taliban needs to be stopped. She pleads with him, tells him he doesn't need another war. "How can you do this?" she says. "After what happened to your brother?" He goes quiet, cuts her off. A single tear slips down his cheek. "Brian was a hero," he whispers. Some of the other guys notice him crying, and of course, they laugh. They make fun of him for it. Later in practice, he is thrown on his face. His life is a succession of bullies. They seek out the weak, and he just radiated weakness. But he always fought back. Didn't matter that he rarely won. And when the world turned dark and the bullies gathered, he did what he'd always done, lifted his fists and prepared for the pain. Now we switch to Fantastic Four. They are fighting a monster that is controlled by a mole man. Cap catches him and asks Reed if they could talk. They meet up, and Cap asks him about Doom. Doom has been illegally entering America and taking diplomats as prisoners. They are putting together a strike force to go and retrieve them. Reed volunteers to help, but Cap refuses, says the world is watching, scared. The UN is banning extra-powered beings from military operations, but Cap is an exception. His heavily documented wartime service has apparently created a goodwill exception for enhanced military. Reed asks, if he doesn't need the Fantastic Four's help, then what does he need? Cap tells him he needs to understand what he's up against. If he's really here to stop the next next big bad before he ever gets started. Reed tells him that Doom isn't like that. He's full of ego and hatred, but that hatred is directed at himself for the mother and father he couldn't save. A man recognizes Reed and approaches them. Without hesitation, Reed quickly changes his face shape. Later, they go for a walk. Cap asks how to stop Doom. Reed explains he's been working on a way to shut down the armor and that he could set it up for him. Cap tells him to call him Steve, but Reed says he can't. It's only been a couple of weeks since he's been back. His father used to worship Cap when Reed was growing up, and truthfully, so did he, ever since he was 8 years old. He goes, "You're a living legend, Captain America. I grew up with you. We all did. You were the answer to the stories of boogeymen from our childhoods. You were the brave man, the one who helped, the one who fought evil wherever it lived. I'm incredibly sorry for all you've lost, but I'm so glad you're here again. The world needs you." Cap pauses for a moment. "Those dolls, did they make one of Bucky too?" Reed says, "You're damn right they did." Here we see David getting caught reading at night by Sarge. He drags him out and throws him to the ground, kicks him in the head and follows up with a few punches, but David is not going to break that easily. He stands up, and as the others watch, Sarge keeps beating him down. While visiting the museum, Cap sees his whole life on display, a mythology that grew while he was frozen. During the war, he was just a kid becoming a man. He led others, yes, but deep down, he was just another soldier trying to survive. Now, the world has built him up into something more. After getting beaten by Sarge, Dave ends up in the hospital. He reaches for his inhaler, and one of the officers hands it to him. The officer tells him, "It must be exhausting, being so damn feeble. Your soul and spirit want more, but your body keeps saying no." But Dave didn't stay down. It's just not in him. Then the officer looks at him, the weakest damn recruit he's ever seen, and tells him he could cure his asthma. Back to Cap. He meets with the general, who apologizes for calling so soon, but their last spy in Latveria has gone dark. They have to hope that the Doomstat infiltration point he gave them still works. Cap says, "Prayer goes a long way, if the planning is solid." He then asks where the hostages are being held. The general explains that there are 3 locations within the city they've identified as possible sites. The only man who claims to know the exact location is Marius Wolf, the head of the Latverian resistance. He's located in the Northeast District, in a safe house, and he's willing to help. That is, if he's still alive. The general adds, "if anyone's still alive." We haven't received any demands for the hostages. No communication from Doom since the embassy attack. Cap asks, "How small is our entry team?" A voice cuts in, "It ain't the size of the entry team, it's how you use them." The man steps forward and introduces himself. "Terry Mendoza. Folks call me Chill. Is that really you?" Cap just nods. "I am." A woman on the team chimes in. "When's our departure?" The general responds, 0400. Then he turns to Captain. "This is Julie Slate, Marksman, SEAL Team X, the Howling Commandos." Cap nods. "Howling Commandos. Big name to live up to, soldier." She answers, "We're Marines, soldier." And she follows up, graciously letting an army fossil join them. Cap replies, "No offense meant, just getting the lay of the land." Then he asks, "So, we're a 3-person team?" A voice cuts through, "No sir, we're not." Cap turns and is stunned. It's Colton, carrying the same shield as Cap, representing the new Captain America. He went out to the world to answer the question, can he stop the bullies? Can Captain America make the world a better place?